Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself.
My name is Harley White Jr. and I am a local musician from Sacramento, and I teach and I play music professionally.
And what is Black History to you?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Can I cuss? No, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm very proud to be black, but also think that black is a word that's not very useful anymore. Let me explain. When we first came here to America, we were niggers. We fought to get our freedom, and then we became colored, which is generic and disrespectful. And then we fought and got more rights, got the right to vote, and then they called us Negroes. We were Negroes, all right? And then we ran around, and that was like, we Negroes, yay. And then the 60s came along, we were like, no, we black. And we wrote the songs about it, we grew our hair out, and it was cool. We needed to do all that, because there's this, but in 2021, I'm African. I'm made in America, but I'm African. As a matter of fact, we did the DNA test, so I'm Sierra Leone. I don't want Black History Month. I celebrate myself all 12 months, you know? So black, it just doesn't fit me anymore. It's 1 month, it's the shortest month. I don't have time for that. And then I'm gonna just really kick it, and I'm gonna look at the cameras. Black is whatever white wants it to be. You dig it? I'm tired of that.
Okay. And what have you noticed has significantly changed about Black history over time?
The big thing that people don't want to admit or don't see is that the kids are all mixed. Ain't nobody pure white or black no more.
Right.
If you go to the South, all these white boys, half these white boys run around with guns. If they did a DNA test, they'd be surprised who grandmama is. So, and the kids just know this. The kids just know already. The kids don't trip off racist things like we did when we grew up. So that's just what I see that's different.
Okay. What are things you wish people knew about Black history that we don't usually hear about?
The biggest one is science, mathematics, like hard sciences, how much Africans were involved in astronomy and agriculture and at the most basic level, you know, civilization, administration, cities, universities. They always want to, in Hollywood, there's always some warrior king, some kind of struggle, whatever. Never just show the smart people doing smart stuff, building those mosques and building those roads and tending those farms and gold turks. You know what I'm saying? This is always some second-rate stuff, filtered through not what really happened. You know. Did Pythagoras really invent the right triangle? All those pyramids, all those structures. Really, can y'all give us a break, please?
What do you think, or how do you think Black history impacts your community?
Well, listen, let's go back to your first question. I think because we use the word black, and it's a construct, which I went into, we never really get to the conversations that would fix society. Okay, let me be really clear what I'm talking about. Why I don't like black, white, the red man, the yellow man. When you deal with America, or the Americas, so we're talking from Alaska all the way down to Argentina, Chile, I'm dealing with four groups of people. You're either European, who immigrated here, Africans who were brought here by Europeans, indigenous people who were already here, and Asian people who migrated. So two of those groups didn't migrate here. Indigenous people were already here, Africans got brought here. And we're all mismatched of something now. And you can get into the Eastern European and Sub-Europeans and Afro-Eurasian India and all that other stuff, but basically there's four food groups. Asians, Europeans, indigenous people, and Africans. So I want to celebrate those cultures more than I want to talk about, you know, black. I want a Sierra Leone month. I want a Portuguese month. Let me have an Italian month, you know, if you're going to do all that. But black month, nah. Let me have a Venezuelan month. That tells me way more about it. Let me even get a little bit deeper into this, because when we talk about my Mexican brethren, That's generic. Where you from? Jalisco? Mojito? What? Huh? Do we ever say European Americans? Never in the dialectic. We never say, they always get to be, I'm Italian American. I'm a French American. You're a Central American. What the fuck's a Central American? Where? No, there's actually a place. It's Nicaragua. Oh, yeah. So we get these generic terms, and I think because we use them, we can't get. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to bleep something.
It's totally fine. It's okay.
But we get these generic terms, we can't get to the real conversation. You're European, bruh. Don't get mad at immigrants. When did your parents come over? Or your great grandparents? Doesn't care. I don't care how American you think you are. Okay, you don't have, but your French parents, somebody got on a boat and came over here, or you were either here already or got brought here. In the story.
What are some ways we can help educate or inform on Black history?
Geography lesson that I just gave you. But the fun way, I'm telling you, and this is why I'm so hard on the music, and thank you for calling me today. The fun way to do it, we could sit around and point at a map, or we could just have music lessons, because that's just the most organic way to talk about all this stuff. Especially in America. Let me leave you with this. Okay. To your point, very pointed. Very pointed. There is no uniquely American music. It's all hybrids of hybrids. It's what everybody brought here. So that's why it's been such a fascinating experience to me, because the first time I became bilingual was in music class. Presto, adagio, and all those terms that I've been kicking with you. I mean, that was the beginning. And I started putting it together. I'm not fluent in any other language, but it is part of my vocabulary. And let me keep this on one more point. I want you guys to take this forward. For everybody in your class who sees this, you are the amalgamation of all the words you know. You are the language you speak. Even words you don't use, that you read in some novel, maybe a word made up in a Tolkien book. It's still part of your register of who you are. So as you go through this life, collecting words, reading books, making friends who are bilingual, yet you are becoming that. And then every once in a while, that word will come out in your conversation. And then you have it back there waiting forever. So that's kind of what the music is, the language, respecting language and people's origins for real, leaving these constructs behind, realizing that people are hybrids of people. No one's 100% anything. And that's, a uniquely African American story. I think that's what people should walk away from this Black History Month from. What is it to be uniquely American? And who knows that more than the people they call black? Because we came here we don't have our family names. They tried to strip us of our music. We have to totally reinvent the whole game. And with the help of some brethren, we did. And there it is.
Do you consider Black history international, or is it just in the States?
Oh, no doubt. Oh, come on now. Yeah, this is the problem with Americans. Okay. I'm going to need the floor. Can I get the floor for 5 minutes? Listen. Do you like hip-hop? You like hip-hop? Well, it's so funny because, all the guys my age now are mad at the kids because they don't do the bars anymore. The kids just do church. They go, doot, doot. They just do little sounds, and then, it's not the same. They're all mad at them like, oh, that's not hip-hop no more. And let's flash forward. When I was a kid and they stopped playing instruments, we were like, that's not music no more. Right? What I'm saying is, in the 20s, the urban youth, started this whole new movement called swing. And one of the anthems, ghetto anthems, was a song called It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. That's a b-boy stance if there ever was one. So every generation of kids comes along and restamps it. The swing kids have to step out of the way for the R&B kids. The R&B kids have to get out of the way for the funk kids. The funk kids have to get out of the way for the hip-hop kids. And the hip-hop kids are having to get out of the way for the trap kids. But that whole independent spirit of being a youth, that hasn't changed. That's what's not going to change. That's what's going to stay the same. I'm not supposed to be in the club listening to your trap music. Keep my old butt at home. When I was your age, I don't want no old dudes in the club with me telling me how scrunching their face. I don't have time for that. And you don't either. It's your time. And that's what you should learn about Black History Month. It's your time, and enjoy it. And when it's time to pass the mic, pass it.
What are some misconceptions about Black History Month?
The big one is that just like going back to like we're just entertainers and athletes, and the whole thing of artisans and deep thinkers and architects and astronomers and aviators and folks are all been in it for a while. You know, every time they say this is the first black person to do something, I'm so bored of that. If you really look at Black history, you wouldn't be that surprised. No, you're surprised, boo. I'm not surprised. You built the pyramids. You got your pyramids on your money. Am I making it up? So that's the one. That's the biggest one. The people don't really look at what you're seeing. You know. But again, you can put it under the shelf of black, and then you can manipulate it and make it what it wants. Look at Hollywood movies. Is Denzel ever gonna get to kiss the girl? He's the greatest actor of our time. Nobody wants to see an old man kiss no girls now, but when he was doing it, and he starred with all those girls, they all had their ages like, put me in a movie with Denzel, but I can't kiss him. You can't do a love scene. Like that character wouldn't have had a love scene in real life with you. Stop me. Be black, so we can just bend the rules a little bit, and everybody will buy it.
How would you like to see Black History Month celebrated in the future?
Call it African History Month if you have to relegate it to a month. The problem is, can you relegate African history to a month? So maybe they just get rid of the whole dang thing and just give people their respect. But if you have to do that, I'll do it by countries. You know, because then countries can even bring their multiculturalism to that conversation. Afro-Portuguese in Portugal is very different than Afro-Portuguese in Brazil. They're not the same, but they are the same kind of ish. But the dishes are the same, and the paella is totally different. So respect that. Talk to that person about their experience. Don't make a generality about it, right? So that means you have to talk to people for real. Know that they are the languages they speak, and you can at that moment broaden their language. You always have that opportunity, and you're always, they might be broadening your language also. So, I think the big thing is realizing people's humanity, respecting where they came from, but realizing that doesn't really say a lot about them, does it? Ultimately, doesn't make them nice, doesn't make them smart. You don't have to actually talk to them and feel their heart and such their conscious now. As a band leader, and I'm going back to music, I don't care who you are, what you are. I need talent. This is too hard. If it's a woman that's gonna be my drummer, and that's it. And I'm not paying her less or anything. I'm not talking to her any more stupid or nothing. Why? Why would I do that? I need talent. I don't care. I just don't. This is too hard. And the thing is, it must be nice to be, whatever your endeavor is, that you can just bypass talent. You can just say, I just don't want any men, or I don't want any white people, or this music thing's too hard. I need all the talented people. I need all the talented kids. I need all the talented parents of all the different talents. And my job is to take all these talents and make them work together. Now, what if our politicians thought like that? Because in the band, everybody plays. Even the talented kids with the not talented kids, but everybody, when it counts off the song, everybody has to play. Our politicians, do they treat everyone like that? Is there a merit system? So these are the discussions I like to have during these Black History Months and these Columbus Days and these, Can I forfeit Black History Month? Harley White, I forfeit Black History Month for a real Native American month. Let's have first things first. First things first. Do we have a Native American month?
No.
Oh, okay. See, I can't. That's where these things again. Who controls the conversation? I'm only dealing with Europeans, Africans, Asians, and Indigenous people. So, when we have an Indigenous People Month. That's what I want to do with Black History Month. I want to have that. That's what Black History. That would be make Black History useful to me.
Do you have anything to add?
When band practice?
We will figure that out.
Okay, right on, right. And thank you for having me. I'm sorry you got to bleep out some of this stuff. You know.
Okay.
But I think we got to keep it 100, and I just feel like you guys do. And that's but my generation is kind of still figuring it out. And it's like, are you really? Okay. So thank you for asking me this question.
You're welcome. Thank you. We are here with Miss Shonna McDaniels. If you would like to introduce yourself and explain what you do.
Yes, my name is Shonna McDaniels. I am the founder of the Sojourner African Heritage Museum in South Sacramento. And I'm also an artist, a visual artist, a muralist, and an educator. Hello, everyone.
Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you giving me the time to interview you. Our first question is, what is Black history to you?
Hello, everyone.
Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you giving me the time to interview you. Our first question is, what is Black history to you?
Black history to me, the celebration of knowing our history, shall I say, is very important to me as a Black woman. And that's why I named this museum after a Black historical woman by the name of Sojourner Truth. As a young woman, I am very happy to share that in my household, the education of Black history, and what that means to me is an education of my ancestors was always shared with me as a young woman. So I've always had a strong foundation and awareness of knowing who my ancestors were and what that meant to me as a young Black woman. So a lot of young people today, and in general, don't get the opportunity to have that information shared with them in the foundation of their home. So it encouraged me so much that, as I mentioned, I vowed to name this museum after a Black historical woman.
What have you noticed has significantly changed about Black history over time?
As far as the treatment of Black people, much hasn't changed. Okay, so I think that that's an issue that definitely needs to be addressed. And I'm hoping as we move forward into the future that folks of all races will begin to address race, address our history, and just have strong conversations. And I think this information need to be shared with the youth and the children. It's going to start with them because they are our future. So freedom is attached to a knowledge of self. And in order for you to have knowledge of self, you have to know from which you've come from. You have to know your history. So that's the information I wanted to share.
How would you like to share that information with our youth, and how can we, inform more people about Black history?
Well, what we're doing here at Sojourner Truth Museum with the expansion space that you see around you, we have over 100 historical Black leaders events that we're going to be sharing. And what we vow to do to make sure that the children and youth get this information and have access to this information we're gonna let the youth run the show. So we're actually hiring youth ages 14 to 18 to be docents. We're training them to learn all of the information that we're sharing in this space, and they're gonna run the show. They're gonna go out and share this information with other children and other youth. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the youth are our future. So I'm counting on them to create change in our community.
How do you think Black history impacts your community?
Well, for me, first of all, let me start by saying that Black history is 365 days a year. So every day of the year, I am a Black woman, okay? So, and I celebrate that about me, okay? And I want every other Black person, every other child, youth, woman, man, to share that about themselves. So we're creating installation pieces in this space to do just that. And one of the installation pieces behind you is called Black Women Reclaiming Our Grace. A conversation about Black women, our hair, our skin, our body, to make sure that we are happy with ourselves. We're going inward, to create that happiness and cultivate that happiness inward, and then it will shine on the exterior. So that's the important thing to know. It's just not the month of February that we should come together and say, oh, it's Black History Month, 365 days of the year is Black History Month. Our history is the foundation, Remember, the first bone was found in Africa, Lucy. So we are all connected from that one woman, Lucy, the bone found in Africa. So we must all acknowledge that, and we must all work to come together and show love and respect for each other based upon that.
What are things you wish people knew about Black history that we don't usually hear about?
What I just mentioned. That Black history is 365 days of the year, and that we must all acknowledge that. And I think we must all acknowledge the steps to cultivate unity. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is through the celebration of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa comes around on the calendar in December, but the information being shared to cultivate unity should again be practiced 365 days a year. So if you look at the principles of Kwanzaa, unity, the celebration of coming together in the creative format, faith, all of these principles, economics, we should practice these principles 365 days of the year, and that will help build, our community and create balance in our community. So I think that's important for our community to recognize the steps that we need to practice, the solution, that we need to work on to create harmony and balance in our lives. Mm-hmm.
Do you consider Black history international, or is it just in the States?
No, it's should be celebrated around the entire world. Because as I mentioned earlier, the first bone was found in Africa. So that, what does that make every other, race? What does that make every other race if the first bone was found in Africa? We're all connected. Mm-hmm. So the celebration of who we are should be practiced on a wide world basis. Mm-hmm.
What are some misconceptions about Black History Month?
That is just for the month of February. It's just for the month of February. And then also a lot of other misconceptions is the contributions that Black people have brought to the world, And there's so many, and we're gonna share a lot of those contributions right here in this space. There's so many contributions that people just don't know and if they knew, because a lot of times back then, the enslaved Africans, they had to come up with things and inventions to help make life better for themselves, but they were not able to claim those patents. So, but African Americans have contributed so much to this world, and we all benefit, and we all should say thank you. And so, again, we're going to share those stories right here in this space, and we're really happy about that.
How would you like to see Black History Month celebrated in the future?
I would like to see it celebrated 365 days of the year. Okay? 365 days of the year, Music, our music, our dance, our food, just our culture. We have a vibrant culture, and we must all recognize that. It was stripped away from those that traveled through the transatlantic slave trade, but we do have a vibrant, very, very vibrant culture. And I remember being a young girl, probably about 17 years old, and I never had the opportunity to taste African food until I was that age, and I always, when I thought of cultural foods, I always thought of Chinese food and Italian food, but it never even dawned on me that we had our own foods, and I was 17 years old. But let me tell you, when I had the opportunity to taste African food, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. I'm like, what is this? So, I love Ethiopian food. I love Nigerian food. We have a vibrant future. Look at the fabrics, the colors that we utilize to celebrate our culture. Bright, bold, geometric shapes and colors. We're going to bring that into this space, our cloths and things like that. Just everything about it is so exciting, and the energy is so vibrant. So that's what I wanted to share. I want everyone to recognize.
Okay. And do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we are expanding our space. We have an additional 2,000 square feet of space here, and as I mentioned earlier, we have over 100 historical Black leaders / events that we'll be telling stories about in this space. Our soft opening is February the 6th, and our grand opening is March 20th. And you're welcome to look around at some of the installation pieces that we have here and take photos. And even if you haven't seen the murals here, have you seen the murals in the back?
Not yet.
I think most individuals that come here, that's their favorite part. So I'm going to direct both of you to the murals so you can see one of our most popular murals, and that's the mural called Sankofa. And it's like a timeline of Black history. And we have over 2,000 square feet of murals that recognize all cultures, but this is like the very first mural that we painted. So I'm gonna direct both of you so you can take a look at it. Start the mural with the presentation of the two birds as a symbol. And it's called Sankofa, and the birds have an egg in their mouth and their head is facing backwards, and that means that one must look back into their past and value and reclaim that which was lost in order for them to have a more productive future moving into the past. So that's what this image symbolizes, and they call that Sankofa.
Thank you for letting us interview you. I had a really nice time. It was fun to see you because it's been forever.
Yes.
Thank you for showing us some of the art here.
Thank you. I'm very proud that you young ladies are doing this work to help share this information and get this vital information out to our community because it is so needed. So I applaud both of you. And thank you for coming by. We hope to see you at our soft opening and our grand opening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.